Yes. Andy, my brother.
Big bro H.
Long time in the making.
Hey, always love Harry. Man.
Thank you, bro. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for carving out the time. I know that you're very busy.
It's an honor, bro.
We've got a special guest in our midst. His name is Andy Ayim. I've known him for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And again, why I respect you, not just on a professional level, I respect you on a personal level because I've seen your change, I've seen the evolution, and I'm just proud to celebrate the man that you are.
And I'm also equally honoured to be here and to be so proud of where we've come from to where we are today, given a lot of the adversity we've overcome.
Yeah.
And just knowing what it means to make progress over perfection in the lives that we've
100%. North London to the world.
100%. 100%. Let's cheers to that.
Let's cheers to that, brother.
We're drinking that Cali Red today. I don't know if you've shared the story of Cali Red, but I was really interested in learning that before.
So basically, actually, you know what? Let's take a sip.
That's nice. Man.
So Cali Red is a wine or a line of a wine that Snoop Dogg released. He's in partnership with an Australian wine brand called 19 Crimes. And basically on the 19 Crimes bottle, each bottle's got a different face to it. And they were either a colonist or a convict, but there's 19 different people that helped transform Australia where that wine was made. So Snoop Dogg has recently gone into partnership with them and he's just doing his thing. So yeah, I just thought, you know what? The concept of the podcast is wine for the mind. There's no greater conversation than having it with wine. Yeah, so I said, you know what, let's just get it cracking and get into the conversation.
We're just 60 seconds in and this is valuable already.
Bro, it's wisdom keys, bro.
It is, bro.
It's wisdom keys. And obviously here at Wine for the Mind, what we strive to achieve is to explore the person of our guests, obviously is you, the profession, and the legacy that you're hoping to create or that you're working to create. So those are the three angles that we're going to come at it from.
Nice, bro.
So yeah, talk to me about the beginning. So I know that you grew up in North London, Tottenham to be precise. What was life like in your household growing up in North London, Tottenham, let's say up until the age of 16?
Yeah, so I grew up initially as a British-born Ghanaian.
Yep.
In an area called Broadwater Farm, and in Tottenham, North London, and it was a real privilege in many sense because, you know, on the one hand, like I experienced community in a way that I realized today a lot of people would never experience. I had neighbors to the left and right of me, on top of me, and behind and beneath me in my flats, who I was calling auntie and uncle till I was about 15. Didn't even know that I wasn't blood related to.
Yeah.
You know. So there was a real community around, like, it takes a village to raise a child, and I felt like I was in the village.
100%.
You know, and football was one of those unique things in the end where it formed relationships with people. So it allowed us to break down barriers between who we were and share the commonality that we had. And it made it very easy to then form friendships and then community. And in an area like Tottenham, it's so unique because it's so multicultural. So there's so many different nationalities, so many different languages spoken. But then you realize looking back that you're molded by diversity, you know? So when I look back at my time from like 0 to 16, it was a time of fun, a time of faith, and I'll say a time of experiencing overcoming adversity because you start to be aware of certain adversities from a very young age.
Yeah.
You know, and I think one of the sad things looking back is that Tottenham often gets a really bad rap around like unemployment, crime, and these negative things. But there's so many incredible people
100%
that I grew up with and I've ended up in really interesting places in life that we just don't hear about, sadly, but really are the shape of the Tottenham story. You know, so I'm very proud to share that I'm from an area like Tottenham and it molded me and helped me become who I am. You know, versus a lot of the stories that you often hear in the press. So a lot of friends that I've had from then, like Stephen Badu, who we both know, are still my friend till today.
Legend.
You know,
footballer.
So a lot of my friendships that I formed in those early years are still friends till today, to be honest. Wow. And I think there's a special relationship that we have that is almost like blood brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
When you grow up in such environments and you go through so much together, that actually when you get into these stages in life, you look back and cherish the fact that not many people get to grow up with people like the ways that we have.
It's true.
You know, the fact that you can call on me and I do this, and I know that I can call on you, and if it's within your means, you'll help me.
100%.
It's a very special relationship to have with another human, and not many people have people that they can turn to like that. And I call it like my personal board of advisors that I can turn to a Harry and get advice or feedback on things. I know it's a safe space.
Trustees.
Yeah, where Harry ain't gonna judge me. He's gonna show me the love regardless. And not everyone has that, and I recognize there's something special about having that. You know?
Wow. And I think just to add to what you're saying, you know, North London, Tottenham, Edmonton produced there's a lot of diamonds that were made in there. And I feel that
Pressure produces diamonds, man.
it bursts pipes or it makes diamonds.
That's it. 100%.
And a lot of the great people that you've mentioned are diamonds in the making.
100%.
And so when you look back on the school that we went to, obviously we went to a Catholic school in Enfield. What were the principles that you learned from that experience, bro?
I love you're asking some good questions already, bro.
Mate, listen, we're straight in.
One of the interesting things I think an issue with St. Ignatius and going to a school in Enfield is it reminds me of the distance we've travelled. Literally, the distances that people are travelling to go to that school from Hackney and from Tottenham all the way to Enfield.
Even further than that, bro.
Even further than that.
I had guys in my year from Poplar.
Look at that. All the way to Enfield.
Cambridge Heath.
All the way. And the reason that they were doing that commute was because their parents, when I think about the context of our parents, wanted a better life for their children and were willing to send them to school so far in the hope that would turn into something for their careers and their futures. You know, so sometimes I admire so much that our parents sacrificed the life that they knew back home in Nigeria, Ghana, Jamaica, for us to just have opportunity here in the UK. Yeah. And I think I gained that in Tottenham actually growing up at a young age.
Yeah.
The St. Ignatius principles I think were really unique when I look back at it.
Different level.
Like every day we used to write in the top corner of our papers, AMDG. Do you remember that?
To the greater glory.
To the greater glory
of God.
So by telling me that every day I'm writing that, and sometimes I'm doing it like a system, I'm not thinking, but what I'm subconsciously doing is saying that I accept that I need to put my ego aside and there's something greater at work than me, myself.
100%.
And every day when I write on this piece of paper and I come to school, I recognize that there's something greater at works. So whether I succeed or I fail, I'm not going to get too bogged down about it, and I'm not going to get too narcissistic if I succeed because there's something greater at work.
100%.
I think that's really unique and that's a really powerful principle.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really powerful with St. Ignatius is it taught us to set a standard. Because going into St. Ignatius, we came from all different rough backgrounds. So we never really knew about what a standard is to set.
That's true.
In St. Ignatius, they were very big on their standards. Yeah. And you either meet the standard or you fall short, and you know if you fell short of that standard. So it taught me in life that it's so important to set a standard and nurture people to that standard. 100%. And as a leader now of different people and teams, that's exactly the thing that I'm trying to do with them. Yeah. I'm trying to nurture people to a certain standard.
Transformational.
It is transformational when you look back at it, because I gained that in that school. You know, the other thing that it taught me was that we went to an all-boys school. We went to an all-boys school. And
with like 180 to 200 people in each year.
It's
not easy, brother.
So there's a certain resilience I think you build up naturally by being in that type of environment.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, from collecting birthday beats to competing in athletics with your friends, or competing at football, to working together. There's a certain resilience you just build up.
Bro, I remember you in the playground, Bro, you were just so good at basketball, bro.
Do you remember that?
I remember. But you're also good at football.
I was more football, But I used to play like playing Killer. That was
yeah. Killer was hard. But yeah, I remember like you and your older brother cold at football. But I remember you very like natural. You had the natural flair. Stephen Badu had the natural flair. Amaki, like all you lot, your year had natural talent.
But you know what that does? The rising tide lifts all ships. So the fact that everyone was decent or good helped the average rise for everyone else. Because now iron is sharpening iron, and I'm surrounded by iron, so I got to get sharper.
Greatness only.
Do you know what I mean? Steven and all these people are so fast. I wasn't that fast.
TJ.
How am I going to compete?
He
TJ.
used to play for England, bro.
Exactly. So how can I Trudy's Terrors?
Yeah.
So it's like, how can I compete with these people? I got to compete with my skill set, and my skill set was actually how can I use my head? Do you know what I mean? Football. Where's the spatial awareness? Where's the space that I can go into? I had to think different around how I can compete. And I think when you come into the world of work and into entrepreneurship, actually that transcends and is true. It's the same way.
Yeah.
Actually, what are the unique skill sets that are unique to me, and how can I compete in this marketplace? So I think there's certain things like that were really useful. There's other things that I felt like teared me down looking back at it as well. Like I've got locks in my hair now. I wasn't allowed to express myself in that way in St. Ignatius.
It's true.
The hairstyles were very restrictive. They're trying to develop a discipline, but in doing that, they don't realize that they're being exclusionary.
It's true.
I don't think a lot of them were even conscious of what inclusion meant at that point.
Uninclusive.
Yeah. So even being confident in my identity and who I am as a black person, I had so much pride in being from Tottenham, but it tried to get reduced in being in that environment rather than to rise up outside of me.
It's true.
You know, when I realize now that tapping into exactly who I am is bringing the best into the world. But at that time, that wasn't encouraged. You know, and that's where I'm grateful that school wasn't the only thing I depended on, but actually my community and going back into Tottenham helped me rise up and become who I am. Being a captain of Haringey Football Club or hanging around certain man them who were nurturing to me. Andy, don't do the ACs, don't sell drugs. Now you've got something going for you in school. It takes someone to love you to say that to you, you know, to turn you away from quick money.
It's true.
And I think that's the side of the ends that people don't recognize, that beauty of it. Or the confidence I gained by chirping girls on the Wood Green High Road, which actually transcended into confidence how I speak to people, which actually transcended into I've been through so much stress in Tottenham that going into work is never going to be stressful for me.
It sells.
You know, it is.
Drawing a girl, it sells.
Yeah,
that's the highest form of sales.
And even when you think about the hustle of whether you're drug dealing or doing ACs, really, you're developing entrepreneurial skills, bro.
100%.
Customer retention. How am I going to keep my customers coming back to me? Like, and I'm not advocating for what people do, but I'm just trying to say there's transferable skills that we shouldn't deny in these people that help them actually transition into these
100%,
opportunities. Like, I took a lot of that hustle and a lot of those principles from Tottenham and my friends into the workplace, and it helped differentiate me and help me perform in a different way.
Gave you that underlying grit.
100%.
That grit.
100%. But even creativity and how I think. Do you know what I mean?
Explain.
Because people go into work environments with certain boundaries that they set for themselves because of the environment that they're in. They can do this, they can't do this. Because I've experienced being in that environment that's tried to say the same to me in school, but then I've been in this liberating and free environment like Tottenham. I've learned that actually, like, I'm born to be free, to think outside of the box. There is no restrictions. And one of the pivotal journeys for me was when I went backpacking at 21.
I remember you told me.
I went to South America. And my friends, it's not the black thing to do. You're going to get killed. Like, why are you doing that? But what I realized when I went on that journey is that sometimes you can look across the ocean, bro, and it looks as if the sun is meeting the ocean. But we both know that that's a matter of perspective. And if we rise our level of our vision, we know that the sun never meets the ocean.
Never.
The same is true when you go into a new environment like South America, like I did. Your mind is transformed and opened up in a way that you leave as a local boy, you come back as a global thinker. I can no longer come back to Tottenham thinking in a Tottenham way. I now experienced Bolivia, Peru, Brazil, Argentina. My mind had been changed and transformed because I was in a different environment. And that taught me that one of the keys to helping a lot of the young black boys and ends is actually helping them to mentally travel, if not physically travel.
100%.
Because by putting them in a different environment, will switch up their mindset and open it up and expose them to new opportunities and new ways of thinking. And that's the same thing that books did for me. It helped me travel mentally to different places by seeing what people were writing about. At the beginning for me, it was like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, come
Think
on.
and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Come on.
You know?
Cash Flow Quadrant.
All of that.
All of that.
It helped open up my mindset in terms of the art of the possible.
Yeah.
You know?
And so cultural capital is a form of capital that exists that people are not aware of. People think about economic capital, human capital, financial capital. Cultural capital is massive.
Absolutely.
It's massive. So what made you choose South America?
It's a great question. So at the time, the backstory is I did a 1-year work experience when I was at university at Brunel, and I did it in a interdealer brokerage called ICAP, which is basically a financial company that works between investment banks, selling them stocks and shares, basically. And during that experience, everyone that I was speaking to was talking about all of their travels. when they went to Australia and did this on their gap year, when they went to... And it made me both envious and curious. Wow, everyone has travelled. And this is another lesson, like, you can learn lessons if you're paying attention. I went to that job to do accounting. The main thing I took away from there was travelling. It wasn't what I was paid to learn, but and this is the other shift as well. When you're at university, you're paying to learn. When you start working, you're being paid to learn. If you have that perspective. If you have that perspective.
It takes awareness to recognise that.
Absolutely. So when I heard about all of their travels, I said, no, I need to travel. I need to go to Africa. I'm from Ghana. I think I'll know Africa. It's ignorant thinking at the time, to be honest. And I said, no, I need a culture shock. I need to go somewhere completely foreign and different to me. Looked up, Googled South America, Peru, Inca Trail. I'm going to go and do that. So I booked a one-way ticket into Peru and a one-way ticket home from, I believe it was Brazil. As I'll figure out the in-between when I get there. On paper, very crazy.
Cold.
On paper, I didn't fully understand what I was doing. But when I arrived in Peru, thinking like, what the f have I done? It's midnight. I'm in a hostel. I didn't know there's a difference between a hostel and a hotel.
Yeah.
Bunk beds, sharing it with 8 other people versus a private room.
Yeah.
But I've arrived now.
You're in.
And there's one thing that about humans, we have an ability to really adapt. And when we're put into a corner or put into a situation, we figure it out. And everything's figure-outable. But we don't give ourselves credit for that because we're in these environments sometimes where we're too cushy and safe.
Let me jump in. So that knack for...
I'm enjoying your wine, you know.
Come on, bro. Mate, it's greatness. Greatness in a glass. So that knack for adaptability, that street wisdom, the ability to go into a new environment, assess that environment, and adapt to that environment.
Yeah. You see what you just described there, yeah? You know what that's like? When I was in a rave and I'm 16, probably too young to even be in this dance, and I can see someone moving a bit different in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I can see that something's about to happen.
Just moving bookie.
So I need to assess that situation and be like, all right, I need to move away from the bar. I need to get ready because something might pop off. I don't know if any of my friends are going to get involved. So I don't know if I'm going to back it or if we're going to escape the situation. But let me be on guard. And then something does pop off. And it's almost like chess moves. And then you become accustomed to things popping off.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, when things pop off, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not panicking. I feel comfortable. I feel like I know what to do. And it's that same skill set. It's that same skill set. So when I get into another situation, which isn't as dangerous as that is, I'm assessing the situation, assessing the environment, assessing the players. I know exactly how I can play this game because I'm 1 or 2 moves ahead already. Do you know what I mean?
It's transferable.
It's transferable.
And what I rate about what you're saying is that in everything, we need to look past the activity and hone in on the rawness and the reality of the situation. 100%. So you can be in the ends, Hackney, Tottenham, Stratford, you can be from the roads. The fundamental skill behind being in there helped you survive when you went to Peru,
100%,
Bolivia,
100%. Because I was street smart. I went into Peru. We're getting a tour of the favelas. We're getting toured by a gangster who's telling us like, you got to give your phones and your chains and everything, your valuables to me. This is basically, I'm taking you on this tour.
Customs.
I see a 14-year-old on the roof with a gun at 14. I think I saw a grenade with another young child as well. They're like, police can't come through this area. This is, you know, when you think like, you know what, I thought Tottenham and Hackney and stuff was hood. These lot are not hood, you know. They're not hood, bro. What I'm experiencing now is a next level of deprivation and grinding and gangsterism that I've never seen before. I've gone to a rave that night in the favelas. Different experience again. Men in jeans doing these coordinated dances together, and you're like, wow, this is culture. This is culture, you know. A few years later after that, I've gone to South Africa. I lived in South Africa, was working there. Again, gone to Soweto, to the townships, Alexandra. Only reason I'm allowed in is because my cab driver became brethrens. My private driver, who the rest of them are just using to go from the airport to, became his friend. This is another thing that I've learned, If you know that relationships can open doors to opportunities. I've gone to South America to work with this company. This company have employed this a majority white company. Yeah, let's be facts. Majority Oxford and Cambridge people. They've employed this black person as a driver in South Africa to take them around. they're not really talking to him. They're just paying him, and he's a driver. As soon as I've seen his black, you know when it's black love, we give the nods. It's love.
It's love from the jump.
And I'm there talking to him. Hey, you speak 9 languages. Bro, we got to hang, man. I want to learn all about.
Yeah.
So we became boys. Till today, we WhatsApp each other, you know. This is over 10 years ago.
Curiosity.
Nearly 10 years ago. So Troy, my driver, became my friend. So he started taking me to favelas. And he started taking me to a life in South Africa that a native will experience. Sadly, I was immersed. My friends were like, what, you went to Alexandra? I'm like, yeah, I went to this rave at this butcher shop. It was a bride, which is their fry up at. So I'm experiencing, like I've had like girls in South Africa at the time come up to women like, oh, you in Alexandra, you're brave. Have you got a knife in your ankle or something? I'm like, no. I'm just running with Troy.
Yeah.
You know, but I had that street awareness to know that if something's, those two people moving up,
assess it, boom, man.
Yeah, and honestly, no trouble the whole time I'm there. All love. So then it reassesses your view of a place. Oh, South Africa's dangerous, nothing. Yeah, it is, but it's also a beautiful side that we have to appreciate. And I've got to appreciate that side, and I'm grateful. And it's not even just a race thing, because I was on the weekends going to dinner with one of the partners who's a white man and a Christian. And he invited me to his house, so I'll never forget. Like, he gets dinner ready, and I didn't know he was Christian at the time. They all get around the table and start holding hands. I'm like, I know that routine.
Yeah, that's
prayer time before
prayers, bro.
So for me, that's an intimacy and a love to say, you invited me into your household. You don't invite me to dinner. We're praying together. Man, I've got you, bro. So when it comes to work, yeah, I'll go the extra mile for you. It's different now. So when we form relationships with people, especially within the work context, it's different now when we go to that level. So how can we get to that level? And that's why forming an emotional connection with someone is so important, because it allows you to go to a different level in how you work together and operate and live life together. You have conversations in a safe space that allows him to say or her to say, you know what, today's not my day. I'm going through this thing. And because of that, I just can't be present at work. That's okay. I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate that you trust me with that information. You know what, go home, go do what you have to do. I know you. I trust you. I know you'll come back when you're ready. It's a different relationship.
Different.
You know, it's different to the corporate relationship a lot of people experience. It's the thing that I value about being an entrepreneur. Hiring people with passion, hiring people that operate at a standard, having people that are vision aligned. I can train for the skills majority of the time.
Skills is acquirable.
Yeah.
You can acquire that at any given time.
Absolutely.
Mindset.
Absolutely.
What do you think is greater, love or understanding?
Love all day, man.
Explain.
Love all day. I think the greatest lesson that I've learned from being a believer in Christ is that at our core, we recognize that God is love. So if God is love and I'm made in his image, and I too am what? I'm love. So the greatest gift that I can give to you is to bond on a level of love with you, to express myself and be given to you. And that's why I'm such a giver. If you notice, when I create content online, a lot of the time I'm trying to inspire or give value to people. People are not paying for that. But the reason that's important to me is because I'm in the business of changing lives. So I must deposit into that person for that ROI to be realized at one day.
100%.
And I feel like love is so tied to sacrifice. And when I think about the biblical story, it's actually a story about sacrifice and how someone sacrificed their life so that we can live. So what am I sacrificing today for others around me, my family, my friends? And what is the meaning of that sacrifice? And for the sacrifices that I receive, how do I respond to that? And the highest response to a sacrifice is love. I appreciate what you've done so much for me. I'm going to show you love. You know, Harry's had to leave, but his kid needs this thing in support. Harry sacrificed so much for me that I'm willing to support his kid in that way, to take him football training, to take him. That is love at a next level. And that's what the village used to be like. That's where, heritage-wise, where we came from. We're just losing it a little bit when we forget where we've come from and who we are. That's the village.
Part of that loss, would you say, is environmental?
Yes.
Is it psychological?
Yes.
What are the factors that you think?
You touched on two important ones. Yeah, you touched on two important ones. Like, when I think about Tottenham and I'm saying everyone's my auntie and uncle, and I had community around me, but my friends and I move into different areas where we've now got married and now had kids. Actually, that's part of that same divide and conquer strategy that divided us in Africa. So now we've dispersed our power and dispersed our influence and dispersed our ability to have group economics. We should really be moving into the same areas together, owning the nursery, owning the bakery, and realizing that in this life, we can be value creators or investors in people that create value. And we can actually be both.
100%.
So we need to be together to think in that way and to operate in that way. Because generational wealth is less about the money, it's more about the systems and habits you develop.
100%.
To reinforce that, we need principles around a campfire. We need others that can reinforce that when we're not in the room.
Nepotism.
Yeah. And ultimately, like, I believe the best gift that I can give to my son and daughter is to give them the ability to make smart decisions when I'm no longer in the room. So if I'm doing that and I have a community of others reinforcing that too around me, I have no reason to worry because my legacy is being reinforced even if I'm not there.
It's there. And you know what's interesting about that? So let's touch on what made Jesus unique. What made Jesus unique?
By the way, before you carry on,
yes, brother.
I love this conversation because I've had so many countless dozens of podcasts I've been on. You've never come here.
No, mate, we're here. Greatness only. If it's not greatness, I don't want to know about it. And I think there's different aspects of greatness. There's different categories, but it's the intertwining, stitching it together. What made Jesus unique is that he said something at the Last Supper, and I'm going to paraphrase. He said to his disciples, for you to grow, I need to go. But when I leave, I'm not leaving you by yourself. I will send forth my Holy Spirit to represent me.
That's the gift. That's the legacy.
He will be to you like how I was in the physical, but in spirit. So legacy is how people are transformed when you're not in the room, which ties into what you're saying. It's powerful.
100%.
It's powerful.
And one powerful thing as well tied to legacy is a lot of people don't realize that one of the greatest gifts that we've been given by the Creator is the ability to change our mind. And the first story in the Bible, in Genesis, is about the creation story. And in that story, God thought about creation. He said it with his mouth. Let there be night, let there be day, and the two are separate. And then he did it. So now we've got the playbook. Where we think in our head, and then we say,
you speak it,
and then we can do.
100%.
So we've been given the playbook on how to create. But we're forgetting ourselves and who we are and the ability that we have in us. But we all have that ability to create. The other thing that's really telling is, I was sharing this story with my friends this morning. Judas betrayed Jesus, and it's famous, Judas betraying Jesus. And he did it for money, and he had no remorse. There was no account of remorse, no account of how he reacted about what he had done. In the same chapter in Luke, I believe it's 22, Peter denies Jesus 3 times and also betrays Jesus. The difference is not in the act of betrayal, the difference is in the response. And we all can control our reactions. Can't control the action, we can control how we react to the action. Peter wept bitterly, it says. Peter was remorseful, Peter was sorry, Peter wanted forgiveness. Those 2 stories are a good story of humanity. There's so much that people do in humanity without remorse. But there's others that do things that are not right too. I fall short all the time. But in how I feel and how I respond is where the forgiveness and the love is. And we all fall short, but we all have the opportunity to receive grace, undeserved love, undeserved grace. I didn't deserve it. But I'm receiving this. So if I've received this undeserved, then what else should I be passing on to the next man that is doing this against me? Whether it's my colleague, my child, my wife, my friends. I too, to my community, owe it to them to show undeserved grace.
100%.
So how can I hold this against you? And sometimes people may look at that as a weakness with me, that I offer this grace, but it's not mine to take away from you. It was given to me so effortlessly, and it's crafted a life beyond my dreams today. So how can I not offer that grace to someone else when I know what that love has led me to?
Freely it came, freely you give.
Absolutely. And the final thing that I want to touch on is this ability that we have as humans to feed our curiosity is underrated. That South America trip came from me feeding my curiosity. When I look at my biggest leaps in growth and learning in life, it's come at the edge of my comfort zone when I've been doing what? Feeding my curiosity. The reason that I realized that is because I told you before, I've been journaling actually for 7 years. And my journal allows me to look back at the breadcrumbs and connect the dots and understand what brings me energy and what drains me my energy. And what I realized looking back is that my journal is actually my DIY therapist. It's my do-it-yourself therapy. Because I'm looking at across the board at my health and fitness, my marriage, my friendships, my business, how I'm in service to community. And I'm constantly reviewing it every 6 months to understand, what have I done well? What have I not done so well? And what actions are gonna take based on what I'm learning? Because I have that mentality about myself, it's allowed me to grow in such unique ways through just feeding my curiosity. Not setting goals, Harry. Like in 5 years, I want to be here. 10 years, just feeding my curiosity and being trusting in knowing that my Creator's got my path. And He hasn't let me down yet, so why would He let me down in the future? Now I have confidence. You know, confidence comes from knowing that you've done this thing before. You know, and the hard thing for people getting started on the journey is, I've never done this thing before, so where do I seek that confidence from? I've built $1 million business with Mixtape Madness that gives me confidence to build my next one with Angel Investing School. I've invested in a startup before in 17. That gives me confidence to keep investing. I've spoken on a podcast before. That means confidence that I'm going to give value when I speak with you today. You know, so what happens there is that it comes from repetition. And it's like being in the gym. Like, I can go one day and I could just be talking to you the whole 2 hours. That didn't give me no value. I could go for 30 days and put in the work, and I'm going to see the value, but I have to play the long game. It's not going to be overnight. And I think that's a parallel for success in life. And I always share in my house, like, we measure our life in decades and not days. We're playing the long game. We're thinking long term in the actions that we take today and how it transpires to what we'll become in tomorrow.
Different. Bro, I've got goosebumps, brother.
Because it resonates, bro.
Yeah, no, it resonates. It resonates.
And that's the values level that we're talking about. You asked me about St. Ignatius. Like, I know I'm going back in the conversation here, but there's certain values that we share, and I'd love to learn a little bit more about some of your values that you hold on to and why they're important to you.
So for me, I've got what I'm passionate about, what I value are the following. First is spirituality. I value spirituality because I think it gives you an edge. Do you know what I mean? It allows you to look in and flow from within. On a personal.
Yeah.
I like knowledge. Not just acquiring knowledge, but sharing knowledge.
And the application of knowledge. You apply what you learn.
So coming to application is wisdom. So knowledge is knowledge, understanding, then wisdom. Because you can't apply what you can't apply what you don't understand, and you can't understand what you don't know. So knowledge is the starting point.
Come on now.
It's insight, comprehension, and application. Do you get me? So those things are highly valuable. Relationships to me is the currency of life. There's no greater currency.
I love that.
There's no greater currency. I can make money, lose money. You know, time, it can be well spent, you can lose it. But friendship, relationships, that transcends time. Imagine if you had a relationship with, let's say, imagine if you formed a relationship with, let's say, a relative that you've just never had an encounter with. Somebody can come into your life and change your life. Words change seasons. Do you get me? So relationships means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I think the message is more important than the messenger. However, we're here to be our brother's keeper. Each one has to teach one.
Each one teach one.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the nepotism stuff. That's why certain cultures are long-sighted. If you look at the Asian community, if you look at the, Judaic community, it's vision, long-sightedness. So yeah, those are just some of the values that I personally look at, keep track of, and just try to refine.
That really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Man. I appreciate that.
So, when you look at your entry point into entrepreneurship, how did you go from working in a corporate job? I know that you've worked in South Africa, San Francisco. How did you break out of the cycle of working in a traditional 9-to-5 format? Talk us through that.
You know, I think two things about the 9-to-5 when at the beginning of my journey is I felt at the time that I was being a reduced version of myself in that environment. 30% of my true self. I was trying to adapt, but in trying to adapt, I couldn't show up how I show up in Tottenham, with the flair, with the swag, with the chat, with the ideas, because I was trying to understand this foreign environment, which was just so different. It was like two worlds colliding. Speaking slang with the man them on the block, and then I'm getting into work and I have to speak a certain English, use certain language, certain acronyms, send emails in a certain way, do PowerPoints in Excel. It's a different way of thinking and working, and there's an assumption that you should just level up and get to it. There's not an appreciation for where I've come from to get into this environment. The journey, bro.
The journey, brother.
And then they're going to pub every Friday. This is the first time I've been pub. Why am I going pub? I don't go pub in my culture. You don't appreciate it. You don't value that. You know what? If you valued me, you'd get more out of me. They didn't appreciate and understand that. So doing entrepreneurship in the evening and weekends was liberating because I was working with my brothers and my friends on a problem that we personally experienced. We loved grime and UK urban music, and there was no central location online to listen to that music. So we're like, problem solvers, we're gonna build our own. And there's an audacity and a vim that you have from ends. I spoke about this a little bit earlier, where from chirps and gal to wearing garms to like being a man in a school,
100%.
there's a confidence that you have around like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, no one can chat to me. No one can tell me nothing.
Yeah.
No, fam, don't limit that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even when you want to fight or something, like you feel like that. So when I come into entrepreneurship, I took that same energy. Yeah, bro, we can do that. Yeah, of course we can do that. Don't watch that. There's no blocker. And I think that mindset and having those people around you is really important. Like Eddie was one of my close friends then, he's still a good friend now. He was one of those guys. Always encouraging, always seeing the solution, never focus on the problem. Where there's other pessimistic people, oh no, you can't do that. Oh, if you do that, this will happen. Oh, there's this rule here, there's this rule. But they're limiting, they restrict you, they hold you back. We need to remember that source that you have inside you, that creativity, that vim, you hear the passion even coming in my voice.
Man,
You need to lift it up.
Yeah.
You need to bring that out.
Yeah.
We all have that. So at that time, that's what was coming out. It was like, let's work on this problem together. It doesn't matter that you can't code. It doesn't matter that you don't know how to design that. We'll figure it out, because everything's what? Figure outable. And that's what we did. And we started tapping into our cultural capital. Let's go to raves and let's get this iPad and let's get people to sign up to our landing page. All right, now we've signed up people to our landing page. Let's build the first 300 mixtapes. Let's choose the artists that we know are most popular, Gigs and Dizzy Rascal and stuff. We have so much cultural capital there in that process. Once we built the website, a friend of mine, Maz, who's one of the co-founders, come up with a growth hack. Let's go and edit their Wikipedia pages. Let's go to Skepta, let's edit his page so all of the mixtapes on his Wikipedia leads to Mixtape Madness. Come on, man. This is it's like Jeff Bezos says, you write your strategy, your vision in pen and ink, and your strategy in pencil. Why? Because there's many streams that lead to the ocean.
Come on.
That's that flow. There's
Emergent
many different
opportunities.
ways. Emergent. So that's what we kept on doing. We kept on building a business that was focused on solving customer problems. What problems are our customers solving? How can we solve the next one? In hindsight, that's exactly how you should be building a business. It didn't come from a book. I didn't know the lean startup at that time. I didn't know the methodologies. I didn't know limitations. So it allowed me to be free. One of the limiting things about working too long is you put all these limits on yourself because you know too much. You know how you said the application of knowledge is wisdom? Also, sometimes there's a restrictive nature to knowledge in that you restrict yourself from taking action and it leads to paralysis.
100%.
I am paralyzed and I cannot move. Whereas I've got this mentality on progress over perfection.
Always.
So I'm always going to move in the right direction. I don't care how long it takes because I'm playing the long game and I know it's going to take me 20 to 40 years to create my wealth. Who else is willing to play that game with me? 20 to 40 years, Harry, to create wealth.
But again, that's the mindset of an investor.
That's a mentality.
That is the mentality of an investor.
It's a mentality.
It's long-term vision.
How long do you think the Bible is from the Old Testament through to Jesus' life?
Thousands.
That's a long game.
Thousands.
That's a long game. If I mean what I said during my marriage, when I got married, that vow to my wife, that oath, if that's meaningful to me, that's a long game. For better or for worse, for fit. It's a long game.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually playing so many long games in life, but which ones are forced upon you because of circumstance versus you choose to play? I've got a child, I have to play this long game. Or if I'm a father, I can take the piss and not necessarily play this long game and leave the woman who has to play this long game. Cowards move. It's very dangerous to do that. But there's these long games in life, marriage, children. But there's these long games in life that we can choose. Wealth creation, entrepreneurship, investing. It's a choice. And investing, people think it's all about money. It's actually transcendent. It's about the value beyond the capital. It's actually about investing in people. The first investment is the investment into yourself.
That's
what am I learning? What am I reading? What am I consuming? What am I watching? What am I listening to? How is that feeding and nurturing me into the person that I want to become? Who do I want to become? Who am I? What are my strengths? What am I great at? What do I enjoy doing? So if I don't start having these conversations with myself, I can go through life existing but not living. And then I get to a point where it's like, what am I doing with myself? Why am I here? And these are the questions that we should regularly be asking ourselves. Why am I on this podcast? Why am I spending time with Harry? Why am I saying these messages? Why is this meaningful for me? Why can this touch one person's life? Because I'm in the business of changing lives. How can this change someone's life? Who is this going to resonate with? Why am I doing this? Why do I do the work that I do? Why did I start this business? Who is it in service to? How does it add value? I started the Angel Investing School 2 years ago. We've trained 400 people over 50 different countries. We've invested over £3 million. Wow, that's meaningful. People are creating wealth. That's impact. But when I started the journey, if I overthought it, I don't get to this point. There's so much that we're touching on, bro, you know. There's layers to the game.
Mate,
there's layers to the game. And so many people, by the way, are so unconscious as watching Netflix and YouTube and watching Michael Jordan's documentary. Fam, are you living your own documentary out? We're watching all this stuff subconsciously and taking it in as time is passing by. But what are we actually doing for our own stories and our own journeys, our own documentaries, our own books? What are we doing? What's the chapter you're in right now? And how is your book going to end? We've got so much autonomy over that. We've got so much value and vision and power and influence over how that story ends. You know that I could Google right now. Who is the management team of Spotify? And if I want, I could try and phone them or email all of that management team. And one of them might respond to me and one of them might invite me to a meeting. And when they invite me to a meeting, I could pitch something there and suddenly I've got an opportunity because why? I had the confidence to have the audacity to just email that person that I didn't know.
Reach out.
But people lose that skill set when you go and work into a corporate. I can't do that. But you have to have the audacity. And that's what I learned in America. Americans, a lot of them have the audacity because they believe in the American dream. So they've got a mindset that I can go from nothing to something at any time. I've adopted that. That's a part of my culture now. I believe my daughter, my wife, and myself, we can go from nothing to something at any time. So guess what? Even if I was broke or if I was down, I'm so confident because I'm a value creator and I'm an opportunity magnet. And I believe that at my core, Harry. So it's just a matter of time. Do you know how empowering that is to feel like that, bro?
Where there's value, money follows.
You know how I did a webinar today before this on generational wealth. Creating wealth and generational wealth is a 1 hour webinar. Someone attending that webinar said, Andy, you need to be talking at big conferences and doing this webinar. This webinar needs to be global. I said, and so it shall be so. It's been said and it shall be so. 100%. I'm telling you on this podcast today, I'm going to deliver that generational wealth webinar in numerous countries and numerous stages. I'm saying it with a vim and a confidence because I have the audacity to say it and believe in it. And I know someone that's listening to this is going to even invite me to come and speak.
They will be.
And that's the power we have to have in what we're saying and what we're doing. And not enough of us have that anymore.
Conviction.
To sell, you have to have an audacity and a conviction. And people in the investing will talk about having conviction over a startup or a business you want to invest in. How dare you talk about conviction when you haven't got conviction in yourself? Who are you? What do you believe about yourself? What value do you create? Why are you here? What have you learned about yourself? What is unique about you that you bring into any situation, given your perspective and your lived experience?
And where's the evidence?
And where's the evidence?
Where is the evidence?
Where's the evidence in what you're saying versus what you're doing? Back your chat. You got to back your chat.
You have to back it.
You back your chat.
You have to back it.
And if you can't back it, rethink your plan and think about what you can back. There's something about you that you can back. You just may not have found it yet. You may be in the discovery phase. I call it the Moses. You're in the wilderness. You're seeing a burning bush. You're figuring out signs. You've sacrificed something you had, which was the wealth he had in Egypt, to the life that he doesn't know, but it may lead him somewhere. That's the life we have to live. All of us go through that at a period. We go through that sacrifice where we've gone through that adversity, we've gone through that experience where we're in a wilderness, and it's time for us to do that self-discovery and that self-awareness. You can run away from it for so long, but you have to face it at some time. If you don't face it, you don't unlock that next chapter of who you're meant to be.
100%. It's either, and again, self-discovery or the pursuit of self-discovery elevates you. The lack of self-discovery isolates you.
Come on now. And guess what? On your deathbed, Harry, you know what's going to happen, yeah? On our deathbed, we're not going to ask for the properties. We're not going to ask for the businesses we invested in. We're not going to ask for our laptop or our phone. We're going to ask for one thing: more time with our loved ones, my wife, my children. I want more time with them. So why am I going to wait for my deathbed when I can optimize my life today to have more time with these people? And that fundamentally changed why I became an entrepreneur and how I spend my time now. Taking my child to school, taking her performing arts, going on holidays with her, being present. Only doing stuff 2 evenings a week maximum. These are lifestyle design choices to maximize what I want out of life, because I know I want to spend more time with my loved ones.
Different gravy, bro. Let me ask you this. So, and financial literacy is not often talked about, but it's highly critical in any form of life, whether you're an entrepreneur, working man, family man. The concept of finance is important. Now, that transition from going from earning consistent paycheck to taking a gamble to being an entrepreneur, what was that transition like in terms of the financial? Because I know that, you know, you've been a committed man, you know, family man. How did you balance those two worlds whilst transitioning?
I think there's two things that are really important for everyone to listen to and to understand when they listen to this. The first is when you think about your mindset, okay? There's a mindset and a perception that if I've got a job, I'm indispensable. Until what happens at a market like this, where companies are cutting costs, and suddenly across Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Meta, they've released over 100,000 people. No job, goodbye, dispensable. If you're a contractor, the same thing can happen to you. So if I'm permanent, I can get let go of. If I'm a contractor guy, I can get let go of. How can I get more autonomy over who I am and not getting let go? I'm as an entrepreneur, I won't let go of myself because I back myself.
100%.
As a value creator, I know that my worst case scenario is that I could get a contract today, I can earn 6 figures. What a privilege that is.
It's a privilege.
So if that's my worst case scenario, I am my own financial safety net. If I am my own financial safety net, then my skill set is my safety net.
I remember you said,
come on now.
You said that a couple months ago, bruv. I had to reload it like I was a DJ. Pull up, bruv. I was DJing. I had to hear that again.
You know what the problem is, bro?
Yes, brother.
Most people don't know their skill set. That's where they don't feel safe. I'm going to drop and there's no net to catch me. Start spending time with yourself. Look inside. You've got it, but what's your skill set?
What's the difference between skill set and giftings?
Come on now. You're going into territories now. You're going into territories now.
The fence has been kicked down, cuz.
Do you know what it is? I think sometimes you can feel like I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not gifted and purposeful and meant to be doing that thing. Yeah? I was a good footballer, Harry. But I was not gifted to be a footballer. I'm a great inspirational teacher. I believe that's a unique gift that I have in the way that I can communicate to my audience in this way. I think I'm one of the best in the world at it.
100%.
What is the thing that makes you say to yourself, genuinely, I think I'm one of the best at it? Now we're talking about gifting and calling. You know, when I look at all these people that I've inspired over the years to take action based on what I've said, I'm like, there's too much evidence that there's something there. I don't need God to remind me for another person that I'm born to do this. I believe it, I accept it. I'm a full expression of myself. One way that I express myself today is through my business, the Angel Investor School. I inspire people how to invest into startups and create wealth for themselves. Another way that I inspire people to take action is in creating businesses by building it based on customer problems and customer needs. There's so many ways that I can express myself in being true to who I am. And I think that the myth that school teaches you by putting you to subjects, into different classrooms and going into work and doing a certain role is that you start to believe that you are that role. When you introduce yourself, who are you? Hi, my name's Katie and I'm a marketing manager. No, my name is Andy. And I'm a father, a coach, a husband, an investor, and an owner of a business. I create value and I invest in others that create value. If someone says that to you and someone says they're a market manager, who am I more interested in having a conversation with if I've got 10 minutes to have a conversation with one of them?
The husband, the
Absolutely.
entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
the giver.
Because it's more holistic, so I'm intrigued into that and I can relate to elements of what that person has said. I've got a unique ability in doing that. I mean, it separated me from job interviews through to now. I remember job interview in 2013. I've gone into a job interview and I knew that the one question they would ask me is, tell me about yourself. I said, hi, my name's Andy. I grew up in one of the most multicultural wards in the whole of Europe where over 300 languages are spoken and over 90 nationalities exist. I could have said I'm from Tottenham.
Different gravy. You just took it to, come on, it's macro.
So then your ability to see things differently is unique. It's your perspective. You need to tap into more of that because we all have vision, but we don't all choose to see. It's a problem. Come on now. Come on now.
I need to digest.
I really hope for people listening to this that you DM Harry, you DM the podcast, you show them love, you want more of this because these are the conversations that you set this up to create. And what you've actually created now is legacy because these things can live forever. 100%. So now people can listen to these conversations in 20, 30 years time and know that it's timeless and relates to something they're going through. That's so powerful.
Time capsuled.
So powerful.
I'm inspired by material that was written over 2,000 years ago.
Likewise.
The messenger has gone, but the message is eternal. It lives on. And again, that's the whole reason for this, and that's why you inspire me in such a big way. I think one of my key inspirations from you, actually.
And by the way, I have to say, I have to give you your flowers while we're here.
Come on.
Because Harry's one of those few people consistently that has shown me love. From the beginning, from even school to where I am today, you've been so consistent in your love that you shared with me, regardless what you've been going through. In fact, the love wasn't dependent. The love wasn't dependent on what you're going through in your circumstance. The love was separated and it was consistent to me throughout. I think that's such a glowing example when we talk about role modeling of how we should all be expressing ourselves. Regardless what I'm going through, I shouldn't treat you a different way. Oh, Harry, I've had a long day. I'm tired. I should show you the love consistently because the love is separate from what I experienced today.
100%.
The love was given to me unfavored. So how do I hold that back? That's consistent. And you've been like that to me. I appreciate that always. And I mean, in the DMs, in phone calls, and when we see each other in person, like, I could not see you for 5 years. And in person, you embraced me like we spoke yesterday.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And, you know, it's the kindred spirit. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, it's understanding. Understanding is the hinge to the door. Love is the handle. Yeah. Love opens the door, but understanding allows that door to swing open.
Absolutely.
Or shut close.
Absolutely.
So when I interact with you, I try and dive into the real you. And the real you is clean, is godly. You're worth the investment on whatever level.
I appreciate that, man.
Do you know what I mean? So that's where that stems from. Then also you inspire me in a lot of ways. You know, I ventured into public speaking, the whole concept of...
I remember the start of your journey.
Come on, bro. Mate, you were the first person that I messaged. I said, Andy, I've got words that I need to get out there.
And this is something else that's special about this type of relationship and the relationships that others have in their lives. When someone reaches out for you for help and you pour into them and you see them do something with what you've told them or with what they said that they were going to do, it compels you to feel like, I want to pour more into you. if there's a feeling of pride knowing that my time was well spent. It's a very hard thing in this age of social media to feel like if I spend time with this person, it's going to be time well spent. And when you have got limited capacity, you want to spend time and optimize spending time with people that are going to do something valuable with that time. So it's a win-win.
Doers. Faith without works is...
Yeah. Come on.
Do you know what I mean?
Come on. So that's where I feel like when I catch up, when I check in with you, oh Harry, how's it going? Speaking at unis, yeah, you know, I've got a relationship with 5 unis. This is what we're doing. I'm planning this thing with Black History Month. I'm gonna get you involved in this thing over here. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, action.
Oh, most definitely. Action. And then it becomes easier when we start collaborating. Like, Harry, I'm thinking about this property deal, and you know, I've got this deal. You want to go 50-50 JV? Yeah. Come on, man. It becomes easier to have that conversation 100%. Because you've got this foundation.
100%. It's the foundation.
Yeah.
It's the foundation, and I think again. You inspired me. Let me give you your flowers, bro.
I appreciate
you. Inspired me to develop my personal brand. That was important. The time that I reached out to you, you said website this, that you gave me a prescriptive list on things that I need to consider.
I've done each of them.
Thankfully, do you know what I mean? Obviously, I hold myself accountable and my wife holds me accountable. Accountability is critical.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? But it's recognizing your greatness and you're in the business of value.
What made you feel like Andy's one of the right people to ask? Like, what perception did you have online of me, separate to experiencing me in person, that made you feel like Andy would be a good person to ask for this thing?
So, firstly, there's a difference between being seen and being visible. A lot of people want to be seen, which is okay. You know, for certain circumstances, you can be seen, but you're visible because there's a purpose behind your vision. So when I look at you and I observe what you're doing, I see a few things. One thing that I see is that you're generous with your knowledge. I see that you're an investor in people. I see that you're a go-getter and you're curiosity-led. Do you get me? And I see that you're driven by legacy. And those values are things that I have in me. So I don't need to DM celebrities when I've got that greatness in my network. I want to explore my network, tap into my network.
Smart.
Do you get me? Find out. Again, it's a form of mentorship.
And the personal board of advisors or the village elders,
trustees. No. Behind every great player is a greater coach.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's part of it, bro. Do you know what I mean? It's just seeing what you're doing, and also, bruv, you know.
And by the way, the reason that I'm so confident about what you're doing is because I know from your value system that you're committed to the long game, which is where most people fall down. Oh, I've done it for 2 years. I'm going to stop now. It's not leading me to where I think I want to get to. Whereas if they'd done it for year 3, they didn't realize that was going to open this door. You know, and that's the commitment. Like where I am today is 10 years of I'm just going to keep on doing this. And you're not going to stop me. You're not going to put me off. I'm going to keep going. I'm relentless. And not a lot of people like competing with that. Not a lot of people like doing that. Like what things have you committed to in your life for 10 years? What have you done for 10 years? Play the violin? Play football? What have you done for 10 years of your life? You know, because that's where mastery starts to get developed. 8, that's where network concentrate. Yeah, 10,000 hour rule. But even network concentration, that's another rule. Your network can become so concentrated in a space that you become known and a mover and shaker in that space. People want to work with you. Become an opportunity magnet. Opens doors. Like 2018, I raised I was part of a team that raised 2.5 million for an organization, and one of the investors into that organization invited me and 4 others to Berlin, and he had a private meeting with Michelle and Barack Obama in a hotel. Then I met them in a hall.
Simple.
The reason I get that access is because of the relationships I built. The reason I could build that relationship is because I was putting in the work even when I wasn't getting paid. It started from a blog post on venture capital and black people in the space.
2017?
It's even 2015.
Right.
First post.
Old school.
Yeah. Then I started speaking at events. Then it started with me getting headhunted to join a VC firm. Like, he doesn't know it yet, but I want to make him the managing director of my firm. That was relationship driven. That wasn't CV driven. That wasn't marketing director and these are the skills that he acquired. It's the qualities of the person that shines through, like the things that you described about me that go beyond a CV and dip into experience. It's my experience of you. Safe pair of hands. I can only know that from experience. And those are the things that transcend these things that we sometimes focus on too much, like a CV or a job. What are you extracting from there? What's the value you're getting from that environment? And that's where you need to be selfish around your career progression and your job. Like, what am I extracting of that? And the reason I loved your DM about personal brand is because the first page of Google is now your CV. Because anyone that's going to meet you, come on your podcast, interview you for a job is going to Google you. So what comes up on that page one? If I click on the news tab, what comes up? If I click on videos, what comes up for you? Do you control your narrative or is it controlled by another? If the only thing that comes up is your LinkedIn and it's your jobs that you've worked, being controlled by those people that hired you. If the only thing that comes up is Twitter and you're on there just speaking garbage and trash, you're not in control of your narrative. So what is the narrative that you want to say and how can you be in control of that narrative? You Google me now, Andy Ayim, you go on the news tab or you go on the video tab, there's a very consistent theme and stream that's coming through. I got called last week from BBC on the weekend. I didn't answer the calls because it was a private number and because I was in my daughter's performance, which takes precedent over any call. I don't care who it is. But when you're a value creator, you attract opportunity, like I said. They not only called me, they then text me. She texts me saying, can you come on BBC Wake Up to Money on Monday? We're talking about venture capital and this new treasury bill treasury paper that's coming through about the lack of diversity in the space and about this tax relief scheme. Can you come on as an expert at that thing to come and speak about it for 10 minutes at 5:20?
Crazy.
That doesn't pay me anything. But what it does, it helps to shape my narrative around this trust and credibility around this brand that I'm developing. Why am I getting that call?
Benefit in kind, brother.
They've invited me to the studio. They've told me they'll bring a van to my house. Why are they willing to do that? Because of the value that you're going to deliver. I'm confident that the BBC will call me again for other opportunities. I'm not an employee of the BBC. But they're using their megaphone to get me out there. These are the things that I'm dropping as just examples of like what happens when you take ownership over your personal brand and ownership over the stories that you want to tell online and offline. And that's exactly what you're doing. And that's why I'm so encouraged by the journey you're about to go in. Because I know the doors that is open for me. So I'm so excited about the doors that it's going to open for you.
100%, bro. 100%. And it's just exploring and utilizing my skill set and my giftings and just bringing, instead of having them in two separate glasses, I just want them in the same jug.
100%.
That's what I want.
100%. And it's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It was once like that and it got separated. Because as kids, we're having fun, we're free, we're liberal, and then a lot of that just gets restricted as we get into school. So how do we continue to have that freedom, that creativity, that liberation to just express ourselves fully? We have to bring that back because that's the true essence of who we are. And it's undeniable once you bring that into the marketplace. It will be seen, it will be heard, it will be acted on. People will want to do work with you.
What do you find more interesting, speaking on stage or teaching in a workshop?
To be honest, both of them I'm still teaching. If I'm on stage, I can't be on stage just to inspire you. I have to leave you with substance. I have to leave you with seeds. I feel like I'm on stage and actually I'm like soil. But actually in the audience is all the seeds. And what I'm doing is providing an environment to nourish them by making sure that there's sunlight and enough water so that those seeds can grow. And really, I don't know what's trapped inside of those seeds. For some people, it's a small lily tree plant. For other people, it's an oak tree. So I don't know where it's going to turn up. And I'm not dependent on where you're going to go. But I'm going to pour into you regardless and show you love because I'm not dependent on my situation and my context. It's based on how I'm in service to you. So I just have to be here and empty the bucket. So that's what I'm going to do every time I'm on stage or every time I'm teaching. The one thing I like about an intimate setting, like a small classroom, 30 people or one-to-one, is it allows me to go deeper. The smaller the audience, the deeper I can go. Because I can get deep on your personal circumstance. And now that's where we add real value. Andy, I'm struggling with this thing in terms of acquiring customers. I can go very deep on answering that very question for you. Here are some free things that you can consider. I don't know if any of them can work, but you should experiment around them, time box them. Don't spend too much money or time on them. Let's check in 2 weeks and let's have a conversation. Because half of the value, or 80%, is me just being an accountability coach for you.
It's true.
You said you're going to do this. Did you do that thing? How did it go? What did you learn? If we do that 10 times, the compound learning you'll achieve is even greater than the thing that you're actually doing.
Exponential learning.
Absolutely.
Exponential.
Absolutely.
So what ways do you put yourself out there for, let's say, I remember you said at the start of the year that one of your main goals or one of your supplementary goals is to become more into the public speaking. I know that you do it, you're very good at it, but this year I've noticed that there's you said that you're focused on outbound.
Yeah.
So explain that to me.
Yeah, so inbound is when people approach me for opportunities. Because like I said, I'm an opportunity magnet. It will happen to the end of time. People will approach me for opportunities. But outbound is when I'm intentional bound. I want to build a relationship with, let's say, InvestFest. You came to Royal Albert Hall. I really enjoyed what you do. I have something different I can give. You don't talk about angel investing. That's what I'm known for. Let me come and give you a talk at InvestFest. That's outbound. So now, by doing outbound, what I'm doing is I'm developing relationships and I'm building a presence with new audiences. Because now, by doing that workshop that I did for Oxford with the MBA program, and now I'm in that audience. I'm now a trusted and credible figure in that circle. By doing this work with the BBC, I'm now getting into this audience. By doing this work with, by being in this advert on ITV, I'm now getting into this audience. And
Just doors.
Absolutely. Because my tribe are lost. And they're looking for me as one of the elders in the tribe. And when they find me, they know they resonate and they know they found their tribe. So I need to put the signal out in so many places so that my tribe members can come. In the same way that I found my tribe in similar ways. By seeing people, hearing people, and realizing, that's a member of my tribe. I'm a member of that tribe. That resonates with me. We're lost tribes and we're trying to come together. We've been colonialized and separated. Let's just come back together because that's what we have for strength.
Let's build it.
Absolutely.
Who do you look to for inspiration?
That's a really good question.
That's question number one.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, question number two, what's the difference between inspiration and motivation?
Whew. So my wife, first and foremost, inspires me so much. My wife has always been that critical friend of mine. Andy, now what you did there is not right. Well, I don't agree with this, or you should think about this differently. When most people were at the time more like yes people. I love what you do, Andy. Get it, which is helpful. But what's really helpful is that side that she's able to see because she's got a unique ability to see both the positives, but also the rooms for improvement. The other thing is her nurturing nature has taught me how to nurture relationships with others. So how she treats me and my children has inspired me to how I treat others, and it's inspired me to protect my time with them because I draw energy and drink from that well. That fills my cup. When I empty the bucket and empty the cup, when I pour out into others, I get filled by being in my private space with my family, my sanctuary, my healing place.
100%.
That's me in the garden.
100%.
That's my prayer mat.
The mountains.
That's my prayer mat. And my brothers and my mum, super inspiring. My brother Quabs, CEO of Mixtape Madness, has always opened doors for me, always been there when I needed him. If I ever need help on anything, whether it was money or girls or opportunities, he's always there for me and my younger brother. He's been a father to us since my father passed away. He's been like that his whole life, to be honest. So he's such a big inspiration to me. My younger brother is equally inspiring. Entrepreneur, go-getter, fearless.
All your siblings are entrepreneurs.
Fearless.
It's just greatness.
And he used to always say to me, and he used to piss me off like, oh, Andy, you're a fairy man. You're chatting the thing, but you're not doing the thing. And he was right at the time, but it was hurtful. But he inspired me to be more of a practitioner and to recognize that ideas are overrated and execution is undervalued. So my younger brother, big inspiration. And my mum, after my dad passed away over a decade ago now, she started a business at over 60 years old, a nursery in Ghana. Come on, man. You got to have conviction to be doing that at 60 years old.
At 60, bro.
I have no excuse. That's what she taught me. And she always taught me about the consistency of love. She's always called me her baby and showed me love and taught me about faith in Jesus from when I was born to now. That's a 35-year journey. No one else has been on a journey with me in life like as my mum has. And in such a consistent way.
Lionesses and their cubs.
Yeah. Yeah, great analogy.
Lionesses and their
Always
calves.
encouraging, always talking positive into me, always depositing into me. And it's taught me for what I see in my wife. Wives are powerful depositors. They can lift up a family. They are the tide.
100%.
They are the tide. You know how you say like, oh, men are leaders of the no, women are the tide. Women lift up the whole family. They rise the whole level. I can only go and do what I do and be in a service into the world because of my wife. 100%. There's a direct correlation to her as my best friend to being my wife and where I've ended up in life.
100%. When a man findeth a wife, he finds a good thing
100%.
and obtains favour.
100%. I can move
From on
anywhere
high.
in the world, close my business down, start from scratch again. If she's by my side, Harry, it's limitless.
It's greatness.
It's limitless. It's greatness.
It's greatness.
So inspiration starts from there. And then I'm fortunate to just have a lot of like incredible people around me that I can turn to and call friends and speak to on a regular basis. And
Crazy.
I know it's a privilege. And it's not just monetary and the millionaires and stuff. It's actually just people who are just holistic human beings who are genuinely serving from a place of love in their own unique ways. Some are Christian, some are not, but it's love. And I share that with them, they share with me.
Yeah,
You
don't
know.
need to be. Are you great at what you do?
Yeah,
And do you believe in what you stand for?
absolutely. And I'm someone that, like I said, because I'm a journaler and I'm always writing down and capturing what I'm going through, I track lessons anywhere I go. Like seeing President Obama in Berlin, he's the most charismatic speaker I ever seen. Inspired me to sharpen up how I speak.
He is clean.
Clean. In
Clean
person
cut.
as well. Like he's on there for an hour and it's not
cut.
scripted. It's how he's learned to express himself.
And he started off as a social worker.
So where you start off in life doesn't determine where you end up.
That's it. It's not how you start, it's where you
Look at
finish.
where we grew up in.
Brother. North London, brother. Edmonton, Enfield and Tottenham.
Then your second question was around motivation.
Versus inspiration.
Yeah.
Do they mean the same to you, or is there a clear, distinctive difference?
I think one is inward and one is more outward.
Mm.
I can be inspired by an external force, like I explained, my wife, my brothers, my mother. But the motivation has to come from within. There has to be something in me that compels me to sometimes do things that are irrational in the pursuit of what I'm pursuing. That motivation has to come from in here. You can't gift me motivation the same way you can't gift me purpose. Oh, Andy, I think you're a really talented poet and you should go into poetry. However well-meaning, however true it is, until I believe that in my core, I will never pursue that and be motivated to do it.
Yeah.
To go to the gym, you can hear that inspirational talk, but Harry, you're the one that has to show up at 6 a.m. every day for the next 30 days and do the work.
It's true.
I can't do that for you.
It's true.
So it has to be something inside of you that compels you and pushes you to do things that are often irrational in the pursuit of something greater.
Different. Brother.
I was looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, bro, like you're just dropping wisdom. You're like the 2023 version of King Solomon, cuz.
I've
Without the
never been
1,000
given
wives.
that.
Without the 1,000 wives, cuz. Just, yeah, it's just wisdom. And I think what I like about your wisdom is that it's refined. And I can tell that you do the work and that you're in the business of personal development. Why is personal development so important to you?
Harry, your guys are places today that I don't normally go and I love it. It's refreshing. When I was 18, I joined a multi-level marketing scheme. I didn't know what that was at the time. Pyramid scheme. It was called Success University. Started by a guy called Matt Morris. I researched it. I understood what I was joining now looking back. But I didn't understand it fully at the time. One of the elders in the ends, who was one of the man that I would call if I had a situation, invited me into it. I looked up to him. He was a role model to me. And in this multi-level marketing scheme called Success University, the products were personal development products, like CDs, like Charlie Munger's 12 Pillars of Success, or Jim Rohn, or Zig Ziglar,
Jim Rohn's a legend.
or Les Brown. I didn't know these people at
Bob
the time.
Proctor.
So I got paid for everyone that joined my pyramid. I had about 20 people in Tottenham. I had influence. I had leadership skills. I didn't realize I had that at the time. When I realized it was a scheme, it broke all down and I was left with these products. So I started consuming them. I started reading them. I started listening to the audiobooks. Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Profits Are Better Than Wages, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon. opened my mind, man. That personal development changed my life. So if that's what it can do for me, imagine what it can unlock in others. That's where it came from. That was the sowing seeds. And you know what made it more powerful? Hold on, what I'm reading there is so similar to this thing in the Bible. Wait, it says in the Bible that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's the same as believing in myself. I started just joining the dots and realizing that the core source of what they're talking about there is actually biblical.
It's in
I
scripture.
had it all along. I just couldn't interpret it.
It's there.
The basic instructions before life ends in this Bible, I've had it all along. I just couldn't interpret it. I needed help interpreting it. That's what it did for me.
And how much time thereafter do you commit to personal development?
You know, one of the biggest shifts in being an entrepreneur and not working for someone is, firstly, you no longer can rely on a training budget from a company to pour into your training. I've got £500 a year that I can take courses and stuff, which I probably won't even use, but I can use. As an entrepreneur, you now have to have autonomy over your time. What's happening at 9 to 5? What do I choose to do? What meetings do I choose to have? What work do I choose to do? It's not being dictated by an employer anymore. And the second thing is you have to now dictate your personal development and growth journey. If you don't pour into yourself by paying for that conference, paying for that book, that audio book, listening to that podcast, watching that video, attending that event, you're not going to develop and grow. And then you're going to stagnate. If you stagnate, you can't compete in this marketplace. If you can't compete in this marketplace, you can't build this business. So you now need to be intentional about how you invest back into yourself in order to then invest into others. When people are paying me for my information, what they're actually saying in that transaction is that Andy has slightly superior knowledge to me. He might be 1 or 2 steps ahead on a certain specific journey. And because of that, I want to pay him because I can relate to him, but I can also learn from where he has been and where he is on his journey. So in order for me to continue to extend and excel on my journey, I need to continue to deposit in myself. Whether that's investing into businesses, whether that's working with other investors, whether that's doing more speaking gigs, whether that's doing something foreign outside of my environment to sharpen a certain skill set like communication skills, whether that's the coaching work that I'm learning now from leadership coaches, whether that's experiencing coaching myself. Every year I can look back and see how I've been depositing myself when I look into my tracker. I can look back and connect the dots.
And journal writing allows you the privilege to look back.
Is my personal operating system. Same way Apple and iOS is an operating system for Apple phones and Google have Android as their operating system. My journal is my personal operating system.
Come on. Picasso.
That's it. And everything that I'm building on top, angel investing, school, speaking opportunities, personal brand, they're all like apps. They're apps that sit on top of the operating system. It's like me having Gmail and Uber and on my phone. Like actually my operating system, my journal and every other app sits on top of it.
Crazy. What do you...
And you know what I love about this conversation, Harry? I hope people appreciate the mindset and the way that I experience and navigate life is exactly the value that people are paying for by interacting with me for an hour to receive coaching or for me to come on one of my courses or to invite me to do a talk. It's because of this differentiated expression of myself that they resonate with and they value and they believe, actually, I resonate with that. I want more of that. That was valuable to me. Do you know that there's 8 billion plus people in this world? I refuse to believe that there's not 102 fans for everyone that exists in this world. 102 fans.
100%. All you need is a core audience.
All you need.
And just establish and create who that group of people are and feed and maintain that
100%.
ecosystem.
And others will pay attention and be interested, but you focus on the core.
You focus on your core, you satisfy the needs of your core. That is the principle to life and business.
100%.
And what I admire about you is that your message transcends business. It's life.
It's life.
And people buy life inspires life. What do you prefer in terms of the hat that you wear? Being a businessman or an investor?
Investor, because I'm an investor in people. So whether I'm in business or I'm investing money, I'm always investing in this one-to-one relationship. I'm actually committing to a long-term relationship with you. I'm just putting more behind that commitment.
Interesting. And what's the most important principle?
Can I just share something on that?
Of course you can.
I think I shared this earlier, but you can be a value creator and build an asset for yourself in a business. I think this is key when we talk about generating and creating wealth. If I invest into stocks and shares, I might make 7% a year. If I'm fortunate in this market, even less. If I put it into the bank, I make 3 or 4% a year, but inflation is at 8%. So I'm really losing money. If I invest it into property, I might make some money. I might make 20K, I might make 30K. Creating an asset for yourself can lead to life-changing money. It outstrips everything I've just mentioned. I could build the angel investor squad in 2 or 3 years, sell it for even 3 or 4 million. That's called a small exit. 3 or 4 million, I could not run out of money for the rest of my life, and I can flip that 10 times, given the skill set I've now developed. So building an asset for yourself, and you'll notice this with wealthy people, is the main way that they create wealth. But none of them rest at that. All of them realize that if they've created this valuable asset, there's other entrepreneurs in the network they need to invest in who are creating equally valuable assets. So rather than having my eggs concentrated in this one basket, which may go up, I invest into others who are value creators. And that's all I'm doing and preaching, brother. I'm creating my asset with the Angel Investing School. But I'm also investing into others that I see are creating valuable assets. That's exactly what Elon Musk is doing, Will Smith is doing, Nas is doing, Serena Williams.
Ryan
When you start deconstructing these journeys, they're not, Ryan Reynolds is not just relying on his acting income. Why is he also investing into other businesses? Why isn't acting enough? Because you need to have leverage and make your money work for you. That's one of the lessons of being wealthy. Make your money work for you in that way. And some of us don't realize that in our lifetime. Some of us realize that too late. I've realized that early. I can invest into 20 angel investments, 20 stocks and shares, and 20 properties. 2 of my angel investments, if they do well, will outstrip the returns of all of my losses and all of my property portfolio and all of my stocks and shares combined. I believe that, and that's what I'm following through on. My pension, do you know with a pension, you have to invest about 600K to even receive 30K a year from your pension.
I don't need that. I'll rather...
People don't even do the math. They're just contributing blind.
Pension, any company that I work for, stop that.
If I had 600K that I put into small businesses for the next 10 years, and I put even 10 to 20K at work into each of them, it's impossible that in a 10 to 15 year period, I'm not going to make life-changing money. I believe in my ability to find and back great businesses. 600K.
Let's dive into this.
Come on now.
Let's dive into this. So, assuming that you had 600K to invest, so you've alluded to the fact that you would put 20,000 and disperse that across. How would you dissect that 600,000?
Great question.
As an investor.
Great questions. I'm a big believer in building a diversified portfolio. So I'm quite young, so I'm not in this wealth preservation stage where I need to be less risky and putting my money into bonds. I get all of that. I'll put some money into stocks and shares regularly every year. I'll have a 6-figure portfolio there, but a small 6-figure portfolio. I'll probably invest more in ETFs rather than single stocks. So I'm getting the average return from the stock market of that 7% a year and letting that compound. I'd also put, my next biggest bracket would be property investing.
Always.
And I'll be doing a number of things there. I'll be financing property deals. So not doing the work myself. Harry wants to go and do this construction, fine, I'll be a finance partner for him. And I'll make money. And that's actually really called private lending. I do that a little bit today. Private lending to property deals, the same way I private lend to small businesses, and I make money, repayments plus interest on that. So I am my own mini bank by doing that. We're all paying and contributing to banks, but we're not thinking about how we can make money like banks do. That's their core business model. That's their core business model, fees and interest. So I can do the same myself. And then I'll put a good I'll say like at least a third. Let's say even let's say that angel investing is so risky to me. I'm only going to put 150K in, but I'm going to put £10,000 into at least like 15 businesses with that 150K. I believe in that portfolio. I'm going to get a winner that's going to generate money through getting acquired, which means bought by a bigger business or making it to IPO. Really rare. I probably won't get this. Let's say acquired. Yeah. There's also something called secondaries that people don't know about, where I invest in a company and it goes through several rounds of funding with VCs. And then the VCs say, I want to buy you, Andy, off the cap table. I want to buy you out of this company. Which means that I bought it at this price per share of 10p and you're buying it off me at £2.50 per share. So I now make the difference. So I've made a return.
So either way, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
And when you invest in entrepreneurs, the thing that you realize is that you're not just investing for a return, you're investing in a relationship, and relationships open doors. So then it becomes into, this other entrepreneur starting a business and they need someone to help on product. Andy, they want to hire you for a year to help them on this strategic thing with product. This other business needs an advisor on this front on go-to-market strategy. Andy, they want to give you about 1% equity because you've been so helpful over the last 12 months. Do you want to be on the advisory board? And you start opening doors, bro.
Income stream, ancillary benefits.
This startup introduced me to this conference and this conference want me to speak and they're going to pay me 5k to go and speak at this conference. So hold on a second. All of these network effects have come from just investing into startups. And now I've learned about NFTs and Web3 and now I can educate my community on that topic. Wow. So that investment is greater than, I don't get that same dividend in return from stocks and shares. Passive. I don't get the same. Property, to be fair, can be hands-on and it can learn a lot. I think property is a core part of everyone's portfolio, especially if you live in this country.
Bricks and mortar.
Everyone needs a place to live. Everyone needs shelter. Everyone needs food. Alternative food is another area that's very interesting for the long term. China are doing a lot to buy up land and investing in that space. And now we're talking about trends and investing for the future. So there's certain areas like that where it's fascinating. What does alternative food look like? What does it look like when we can no longer eat as much chicken and farm and cows as we are today? What does it look like when actually there's supply chain risk with things like COVID happening again and again, and now we need to look at insourcing food domestically? What does it look like now that India's had this is a real life scenario, India's had such a heavy rainy season in the winter, and so they weren't able to farm as many rice crops. So actually non-basmati rice, it looks like the price is going to shoot up by up to 40%.
What's the alternatives?
What do I do? This is where we start talking about investing into trends. What companies am I going to invest in that are building the shape and shaping the future of the world that we're going to live in? Wow, what an opportunity that is!
Crazy. Now let me ask you this: so when you invest in these businesses, in these entrepreneurs, in their vision, how hands-on is it? Because everybody looks at the Dragon's Den scenario. And
that's why we need new shows, but yeah,
you hear the pitch, they scrutinize the idea, and they decide whether they're investing or not. But what we don't see is what impact the investor brings to the table. How hands-on are you in your investments?
So first of all, when I think about investors, there's 3 ways they add value. There's the capital, which is highly commoditized. It's hard to get, but actually capital is everywhere. It's not a differentiator. The fact that we can both invest £10,000. The differentiators come from the next 2. The first is, can I fill your knowledge gaps? So can I add value through my knowledge that I have? Okay. An example of a knowledge gap is, I might be building a financial services firm, and I've worked in financial services for the last 10 years. So if you're building that fintech, I know things that you need to know about PSD2 and its regulation and compliance and GDPR and data privacy and how to build technology products with engineers. I've got differentiated knowledge that I can help you with. You can shortcut your learning. It can save you time and money. You don't have money to waste because you're trying to build a business. The third point is network advantage. How can I then leverage my network to help fill knowledge gaps and open doors? An example of that is when I invested into Ava Estelle last year. I went to 9 other black professionals, men and women. We cumulatively invested £120,000 together. I've added value through unlocking that network to invest into that startup. Another unlock could be go to market. You want to grow into America? I know a great lawyer that can help you in America. I know a great VC investor who can unlock certain doors domestically in America. I can make those introductions for you. So then I said that the real differentiator is your knowledge and your network. And that's actually your brand. Because what are founders telling other founders about you? What's your founder NPS, if you like? Like, would they recommend you to another founder? And if they do, what are they saying about you? That's the differentiation game.
Powerful. What investors do you look up to? If you were to, if you were to say the top 5 investors that's inspired you over the past year,
Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, hands down, timeless investors.
timeless.
Value investors, long-term investors. See values where others didn't. Playing the long game till now.
Portfolio.
Yeah, but even in their mental models of reading and printing things out, they're hanging on to the old things that are still so valuable that many of us don't have the ability to do. So definitely them. There's another guy called Vinod Khosla, who owns Khosla Ventures. Another thinker who's very different, who talks about this value add, who says that a lot of VCs add negative value. They force startups to grow that are not ready for the growth.
Crazy.
They're not leveraging their skill set and their network to support founders. I love that he's got a differentiated opinion. He's not scared to say it. He has that confidence because he's built business and invested in great businesses. Another one is Marcus Exel, a good friend of mine from the UK. Built a great marketing business, sold that business, invested in some incredible relationships, which happened to be founders who went on to do well. Some of them became unicorns. He has like a 250% return on his portfolio.
Crazy.
Yeah, but what I love about him is his humanity. No ego. You wouldn't know anything that I've just said about him because he just comes as who he is. And he's just purely like in service from who he is. Another big person is my good friend Francis Mainu, who works in private equity. He was the person that translated language to allow me to get my first professional job. What does an accountant do? What does M&A mean? What does an auditor do? What does management consultants do?
Jargon.
The jargon.
He broke it
He was the translation layer. He helped me speak Spanish, you know? So I'm forever in debt for it. And he's a friend, obviously, now. And he exposed me to a lifestyle. He took me to private members clubs when I was 20.
That's it, bro.
So he made me feel like I belong. And it's in my birth, it's in my right. Like, you have a seat at the table. He was the first.
You belong in this space.
He was the first. We all need that. We all need people that are willing to each one teach one, reach down to the ladder and pull the next person up.
100%.
So I owe it to others the same way that he did that to me. And I've got 2 mentees at the moment who are incredible women, like doing incredible things. And it's an honor for me to pour into them the same way I've been poured into.
Powerful. Powerful. What do you find the difference to be between when a woman is in the world of business? Obviously, you know, there's many great women that are out there, and I can only imagine the challenges that they go through just to get through the door.
I think that's the biggest point, actually, Harry. Not enough of us have empathy into the fact that this world has been designed by white men for white men. It's been designed by middle-class white men for other middle-class white men. And women have a shared inequality with a lot of us in that they've not had voting for so long. They've not been invited to work for so long. They've been treated like they're domesticated for so long. And they haven't been enabled to express themselves in an equal way till today. When you think about what women do, they give birth to us. But it's like if as men, some of us forget that and are so ignorant to that and forget what they've done in sacrificing their body and who they are and their identity to bring us into the world. And we forget them, we don't invite them back to the table. It's an honor to serve women. I genuinely believe that.
That's powerful.
It's an honor to serve them. And we are nothing without them. We are not born without them.
No woman, no love.
So it's no woman, no love. And when you think of things like, even if you look at the Women's Football League, what they've done is taken a men's league and made it for women. Copy the kits, copy the league structures, copy the tournaments, copy the entertainment value, copy that they're free commentators. We've designed this whole world for men, bro. How cars are designed, how women have had it so hard with all of these oppressions. So the distance that they travel to get to the boardroom or to become a CEO is incredible. And the ability they have to multitask and be the woman at the house and the nurturer for the kids, even if a man decides to leave and be the head of their career, we're not learning enough from them. There's so much more we could be learning from women and should be learning from women. If we could have had more women in leadership, we'd be making much better decisions for the world, right?
100%. 100%.
And now I've got a daughter, it's even more important for me to make sure that's true.
I was gonna say, like, how has having a daughter reinforced that philosophy?
It's just been inspiring. Like, her freedom to express herself as a dancer in school with her friends in the language that she uses is liberating to me. May she never lose that. That's my job.
Amen.
And may she continue to make smart decisions when I'm no longer in the room and not here anymore. It's my job. And may she know that she belongs as a woman wherever she wants. And no one can tell her nothing. So that's my job to give her that audacity. You know? And the other day she went to the non-uniform day dressed as Serena Williams. And I got her Serena Williams kit from Wimbledon. Because I went to Wimbledon.
Yeah. Did you take it to Wimbledon?
No.
Or, yeah, I remember you went there, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. But I bought it there. Her friends and her teachers were so impressed with her outfit. Last year she went as Jameson, the first black astronaut. People are learning through knowing who she is at her age. I love that about her. Through just experiencing and being around you, it's nurturing me. It's not only fun to be around you, and you're not only funny, but you nurture me. That's powerful. I'm so excited for who she's going to become. You know. Then I've gone to her school last year, and I spoke to them, her year group, her kids in her year group about entrepreneurship and technology, and I've taken in a robot, I've taken in my MBE medal. So now they all think to be black is to be successful. The black person that I remember from school was successful. It was Andy. He's an entrepreneur. He's an investor. He's got an MBE. So now what am I doing? I'm reframing a generation. What does it mean to be black in this existence? How are you going to treat other people that are black? What do you know about the black experience? I'm now influencing what that is for you as a child. Yeah. And then now my daughter over belongs. That's Ari's dad. Yeah. No, Ari's somebody.
That's powerful.
Ari's somebody.
That is powerful.
If my teachers felt like that at St. Ignatius, my lived experience through that school would have been different. Andy comes from a family. Oh, he's a somebody. There's pictures on the walls of these other black successful people who used to be St. Ignatians who've gone on to do incredible things in the world. These are the things that reinforce messages.
And what did gaining and attaining an MBE do for you?
You know the biggest thing, yeah, for better or for worse, because people have different views on this kind of stuff. In the end of the day, my parents sacrificed the life they knew in Ghana to afford a risk of the life that their children might have in the UK. Okay? That's a big sacrifice. My dad passed away 10 years ago. For my mum and dad's family back home to know that that sacrifice was worth it, and one of the results of that sacrifice was one of their children has been elevated to an MBE. That's the return on investment to let them know that that was a worthwhile journey.
100%.
And even though he's not here, his legacy lives on.
The legacy's on.
And then for the people that look at me like a role model to know that they belong in technology, they belong in investments, and there's space for us to succeed in this space too. Come on now. That's everything. That's community. That's community. I'm trying to bring the village back.
That's it, bro. That's it. Relive what was already there before.
Yeah.
Create that, reinvigorate and ignite that ecosystem that was already established.
Yeah. And evolve it for what we're experiencing now. So we've got to take it forward, take it to the next level.
100%.
Those traditions that we grew up with as Africans, respecting and shake, how do we take that to the next level?
Yeah.
And I do believe it is in partnership. It is in collaboration. That's always been our strength and our secret power, which is why we were divided, because they know that when we collaborate,
there's power.
Things happen.
There's power.
Things happen.
And do you know what I love about being black? Is there's a natural charisma that I feel that we have.
100%. Nothing moves without us.
Bro, we set the trend. We don't follow it. We set
globally.
It. Global. When we have our mind straight and we're committed to excellence, we're untouchable. But again, it's, certain things have come into play to fracture that, but we're here to stitch it back together.
It shows the resilience we have as people and the progress that we've made even in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, it's incredible. Can't be held up. It's unbeatable. It's scary.
Scary.
It's someone that you don't want to compete against. And our lived history feeds into that identity that we need to hold on to and remember who we are.
100%. When you think about Dennis Asamoah, what comes to your mind? Because I've known him for
parallel journeys, but
25 years, bro.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest people that I know, and I know that you and him are very close. What impact has he had on your life? Because obviously I know that you guys are close.
Invaluable brother, big brother, friend, best, everything, like invaluable. Because Dennis, there's certain individuals, Dennis, Trudy, like Stephen.
Trudy's a great brother.
There's certain values that they lived out and how they acted towards me consistently over a number of years. Loyalty, encouragement and empowerment, belief, and people that fill my cup, like my family do. Those all of those three share that quality. They all know each other very well as well. I will always have time for those individuals through thick and thin, and always have love for their families, even if they're not here, because of how they've treated me in this lifetime. I went to Dennis. I went to visit him in LA, and it was like good old times. The love he has had for me and the love that I've had for him is very unique in his life, and I recognize that most people don't have friends like that.
It's true.
And I don't take it for granted. And that kind of love transcends. So, Dennis's wife would then have a love for me because of
the relationship.
Because of.
And
my wife, vice versa.
Yeah. It's a spill-off.
It's non-optional. It's infectious and contagious. 100%. And the thing is, in those magic moments with these people, it just reminds you that memories and moments is what makes up life. It's the experiences we have with people. My kids, they're not going to remember all the gifts I give them, but they're going to remember the experiences and the memories. Whether it was the holiday or the theatre trip, or this experience where I broke my leg, they're going to remember the experiences and the memories. The same is true with true friends. That's the thing that they hold on to. They're not going to hold you back because of what you did in 98 or what you did in 22, or judge you because of they're going to stay consistently true to being there and being someone to share love with you and be there for you through thick and thin. And when we choose like our groomsmen and our best men, that's to me is a big commitment.
It's an honor.
It's an honor.
It's an honor.
Honor. Even a grandparent for a grandchild, it's all an honor.
It's an honor.
And Dennis is one of those figures where I feel like it's an honor to serve him and to be in his corner for whatever he's going through in life. So to ask me about him, it's an honor to serve him. He's an incredible human being, someone that I've been fortunate enough to be blessed with along my life, to work with in some capacities as an entrepreneur together. And till today, he inspires me. His character is unique.
Different gravy.
And I've never seen someone connect with people relationships-wise like he can wherever he is in the world. Very unique ability to connect with people.
He shines.
Yeah. Likable person. It's hard to hate.
Yeah. Being nice is powerful.
But it's not just being nice, I think he has a certain way that he can make anyone laugh.
Yeah.
He connects with people across a range of different topics and subjects. And he's just a likable guy. Like, I want him around.
Yeah. Good energy.
It's a vibration thing.
It's the vibration thing.
Good energy.
He vibrates on a high level.
100%.
And it just, it's contagious.
100%. It's contagious.
Andy, do you know, bro, I can talk to you for ages.
Hey, this is a special thing.
Bro, I can talk to you like for hours, bro.
This is a first for me on so many levels.
Yeah.
First time I've explored the subjects that you've spoken about today. First time I've been on a podcast that's so lengthy but felt so short because we're just enjoying the flow of conversation. We were in flow state. And it's the first time I've done a podcast probably with like a brother like yourself, to be honest, someone that's actually close to home. So.
Yeah, bro. No, it's a pleasure, and I'm just looking forward to seeing you continue to grow from strength to strength. I'm looking forward to see you keep inspiring, again, there's a difference between transactional and transformational. You're in the business or transformation. And I'm proud of you, bro. You inspire me, and I'm just watching you. I'm following you as you follow greatness.
I appreciate that, bro. And what I love, like I said, is the rising tide lifts all ships, and
yes,
it's lonely at the top if you're not there with others. So we got to break bread around the same table. I know when people see those pictures of Black Excellence with Jay-Z and P. Diddy and those, like, we're doing our own version for our generation and for our friendship group, and it excites me, man. We start doing more deals together, bring stuff, opportunities to each other, support each other, move into the same areas, raise each other's kids. That's the future direction-wise it looks like we're heading into, and it excites me.
Do you know, touching lightly on, you know, those guys, the Jays, the Nases, what intrigues me about those people are the people around them, like the Steve Stouts.
You don't hear about them enough.
The commissioner. He said in an interview probably about 10 years ago.
William Wesley as well, the deal maker.
Bro,
there's a lot of people.
These brothers, like, they are the real people behind the scenes that play the long game. Do you know what I mean? And it's imagine.
It takes a village, man.
It takes a village. Imagine where we're at in our careers, imagine 20 years from now. Like, people don't hit their financial stride up until the point of, a man hits his financial stride between the age of 35 and 50.
Yeah, I believe
35 is...
I was even going to say 40, but yeah.
Yeah, so from 25 to 35, you would assume that somebody's 10 years solid in their career, in whatever they're doing. So from 35, some people get there sooner, but from 35, that's when you see people start to soar.
Yeah.
Then 40 is where... So every decade has a theme.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, look, you know...
We could talk for ages.
We can talk for ages, bro. Andy's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine,
I can't
brother.
wait to roll this out.
Honestly.
It's been emotional.
So many
Great
clips.
conversation.
Thank you, brother.
And,
it's a great platform. I'm happy that you've brought this into the world.
No, and, you know, long may it continue.
Absolutely.
Blessings, brother. Thank you.